Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arindas Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. This is Kamadiki Dasi from Baltimore. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call and giving your association. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and to all the assembled devotees here. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Nani.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and the assembled devotees. This is Shiromani Nandarani Devidasi from Krishna Kathadesh. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Nandarani Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati. Hare Krishna Bhagavati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Okay. I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone for joining today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are really fortunate to have Sukumar Gaur Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before I hand over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji to give a brief introduction on Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. His Grace Sukumar Gaur Prabhuji was born in Maharashtra, India in 1980. Brought up in a social background where spirituality was often questioned, he developed a natural taste for inquiry into the mysteries of God's creation. Prabhuji passed College of Engineering, Pune, in mechanical engineering in 2003. He came in touch with the devotees of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 2003, and he found all his questions answered in the books of Srila Prabhupada. As an MBA student of finance, he studied Srila Prabhupada's books and became a sincere practitioner. He joined the NCDEX, National Commodities and Derivatives Exchange in Mumbai as an assistant manager and worked for 3 years. Later, he took a 2-year brahmachari training course at Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple in Mumbai and was initiated into the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in 2010. Sukumar Gaur Prabhuji always wanted to share his joy for Krishna consciousness with youth, so he gave up his job and began serving in the youth preaching department. He joined ISKCON Chowpatty as a resident in 2009, and later he was posted to ISKCON in the Nasik temple. He is serving as the youth counselor in various colleges of Nasik. He conducts seminars on personality development topics in educational and corporate sectors. Hare Krishna, welcome to the call, Prabhuji.
Krishna, thank you.
Full obeisances, no glories to Srila Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji, for that brief introduction. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We welcome you for this Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are really fortunate to have you on this call regularly, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So let's start with the Mangalachara. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnanaanjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Ratanamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna. So we are reading this morning from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, and text number 27. Yeah, so here is the shloka. Ye Shraddaya Barhishi Bhagashohavi Niruptamishtam Vidimantra Vastuta Eka Pratannam Abhirahuto Muda Grannanti Purna Swayamashisham Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In India, Bharatvarsha, there are many worshippers of the demigods and the various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord such as Indra, Chandra, Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers offer the demigod their oblations, considering the demigods parts and parcels of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raise the worshippers to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 9.13, Lord Krishna said, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manuso jnatva bhutadimabhyam. O son of Pratha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Mahatmas, advanced devotees, worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others, however, who are also sometimes called Mahatma, worship the Lord as Ekatvena Prathakvena. In other words, they accept the demigods as different parts of Krishna and worship them for various benedictions. Although the devotees of the demigods thus achieve the desired results offered by Krishna, they are described in Bhagavad Gita as Pritagyana, not very intelligent. Krishna does not desire to be worshipped indirectly through the different parts of his body. Krishna wants direct devotional service. Therefore, a devotee who directly worships Lord Krishna through staunch devotional service, as recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusha Param, is quickly elevated to transcendental position. Nevertheless, devotees who worship the demigods, the different parts of the Lord, receive the benediction they desire because the Lord. Can we shift the screen a little? Yeah, thank you. Because the Lord is the original master of all the benedictions. If anyone wants a particular benediction for the Lord to award, it is not at all difficult. Hare Krishna. So we welcome all the devotees for this Srimad Bhagavatam class. So grateful to all of you for allowing me to make presentation on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are on a very beautiful chapter from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is description of the islands in Jambudvip. So as I was going through this chapter, it is very important to know as to what is happening in the different islands of Jambudvip. So first to 8 is prayers to Lord Ram by Hanuman from the Kim Purusha Varsha. 9 to 15 is prayers to Lord Naranarayan Rishi by Narad Muni in the Bharata Varsha. Then from 16 to 20, there is description of the mountain, rivers, inhabitants of the Bharat Varsha. 21 to 28, the demigods glorify the Bharat Varsha. And this is the last section. 29 to 31 is the islands around Jambudvip. So I would like to just recap because I found some things very nice and interesting, which would help us understand the process of devotional service even more better. So in the first, basically this chapter number 19 deals with 3 things. It explains the form of Lord Shri Ram in the Kim Purusha Varsha, Lord Narayan in Bharat Varsha, and the excellence of Bharat Varsha. So if somebody wants to know the glory of the place in which we are staying, then this is a chapter we should be focusing on, because most of the time what happens is we feel that this place in which we are living is not very suitable for devotional service, or there are a lot of pains and pleasures and which bind a person. When there is too much of pleasure, person seems to be above everything, and when he is at a very low level of emotional stability, then he feels that there's too much of suffering in this material, and so in both pain and pleasure is not able to perform devotional service properly. But if we look at this chapter, the glory of this place is not sung by the inhabitants of this place, but it is sung by the inhabitants of a superior place. So when, just like we have a product in the market, it is always endorsed by some person who is highly famous, who is rich and very well known. When that person endorses the product, then we feel, oh, I should also have this product. But the problem here is we already have the product, but we are not aware of the power and the glory of this product. So power and glory of the product, that is the Bharat Varsha, has been described in this chapter to a great extent, and that is endorsed. This place is endorsed not by the people of this world, but by the superior beings of the other planets. So in the second shloka, from 2 to 8 is the prayers to Lord Ram by Hanuman in Kim Purusha Varsha. As we're approaching in next month, we have Ram Navami. So in India, we are celebrating it on 10th of April. So I thought, let's try and connect this section. It's already about Lord Ram and also about Naranarayan Rishi in the second section. And the third section, which we'll be speaking about in brief, will be the place in which we are staying. So here, the second shloka speaks about how Hanumanji is exclusively hearing about Shri Ram and about no other form. He's exclusively into meditation about Lord Ram and no other form. So the no other form means any other form of Lord Vishnu, he is not interested. He is Ananya Bhakta of Lord Shri Ram, and that we could easily see in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Murari Gupta was told to chant, he was not told to meditate on, or he was only told that you should think about Lord Krishna, you should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So his endeavor to chant the complete 16 syllable mantra was not a great success, because you could only chant Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna was very difficult, although these two personalities are one and the same. We know this in Brahma Samhita. Brahmaji makes this very clear. But still, he was so attached to the form and service of Lord Ram that even in the form of Murari Gupta, he could not make up his heart, he could not make up his mind to chant the names of Lord Shri Krishna. So he was an Ananya Bhakta. So is this Ananya Bhakti an extremist? Most of the times we as ISKCON devotees are always, we are like, the people in the outside world, they always taunt us by saying that you are like too extremist, you don't worship anybody other than Lord Krishna. So in one sense, it is very good, because it is because this example is given quite often by our acharyas, where they say that a chaste lady is completely dedicated to her husband. She will treat all those connected to her husband with great respect, but her loyalty will only be for her husband and for nobody else. So similarly, here the loyalty of Hanumanji is seen only to Lord Shri Ram. So now the question would arise as to, is it wrong that other devotees, pure devotees like Narada, are also they're showing their love and affection for other forms of the Lord? So is that wrong? See, it is not about right and wrong. If you see the life of Narad Muni, his exclusive name itself indicates that he is a staunch devotee of Lord Narayan. Okay. So his faith and his submission is exclusively to Lord Narayan. But at the same time, he also enjoys other form. But when he enjoys, he comes back and settles down at the feet of Lord Narayan. He will not go anywhere. So in one sense, he is also indirectly exclusive, but also inclusive. So he's a mixture of exclusive and inclusive, but majority of the times he is exclusive in remembering Lord Narayan. And when Lord Narayan takes any other form, he also goes and sees that form and tries to engage his mind and render some service. But at the end, the point is, where will he settle? He will settle at the lotus feet of Lord Narayan only. So there is exclusivity. And this has to be there in every sadhaka, because that's a goal. We have to go and settle somewhere at the feet of a particular form of the Lord. So that exclusivity, that ananyata is the part of the devotional process. So it is not excluded from the devotional process. It is inclusive in the devotional. That is why Ananyas Chintayantu. Why Krishna is saying Ananya? Because he expects that ananyata, and the same point is given in this purport. That ananyata has to be there. It has to be developed. So this point we see the Ananya Bhakti, it's not extremism, but it's showing that he is at a very high level where he doesn't want any other form in his mind except the form of Lord Ram. Now, third sloka will tell about the mantra which Hanumanji chants to glorify Lord Ram. So he says that Lord Ram is the one who tried to satisfy even the washerman by his conduct. And because he tried to accommodate every person, he tried to please every person, he is even glorified by all the greatest personalities, even Brahmaji, who is quoting Brahmaji here. So now the point is, was it needed for Lord Ram to please a washerman? Okay, somebody asked, recently I was in Chopati Mandir, so there was this debate happening. Why Lord Ram, why there is so much of difference in behavior of Lord Ram and behavior of Lord Krishna? You see, Lord Ram goes to an extreme. And we see in Krishna Charitra, there is so much of, we cannot figure out what kind of a person is this. So why there is so much of difference? The point has to be understood according to the reference of the place. and the time in which they are functioning. Okay, so they have to act according to the time and the people they are surrounded by. So the question should not be that why Lord Ram went to please a washerman. No, the point is that even the washerman of Lord Ram's time was following his own dharma to such a great extent. So the people, even the people of the higher levels and the lower levels, were following their own dharma to that extent. So he had to act according to those people. It is not about pleasing the washerman. It is about setting the right kind of example for the people to follow. And people are already following, because it is Treta Yuga. It is not Kali Yuga, or it is not, neither it is Dwapar Yuga. It is Treta Yuga. Means there is only reduction in the following of dharma to 25%. Okay, we call that, okay, 100%, then 75, then 50, and then last part is 25%, which is Kali Yuga, functioning on only one leg, that is truthfulness. So the point is, what the washerman was saying, when his wife went out to her friend's place for a night, is even that was not accepted. Even that was not accepted. So it is about the people with whom you are dealing. You cannot apply the standards of Treta Yuga in Kali Yuga, because that would be a total topsy-turvy situation. Okay, so the audience to which the Lord had to teach dharma, he had to follow the dharma himself so rigidly, because the people were also following dharma to that extent. So that was the audience he had to handle. Okay, now the point which we forget to understand is that even dharma, its definition and form changes according to the people and their need and the capacity that they have to handle the dharma. There is no rigidity in that. Lord Chaitanya went to what extent? The actual mantra for Kali Yuga is Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We all know this. What extent did he went to modify for whom? Because the people are not qualified for the Vedic mantra. I have to change that according to time, place, and circumstance. So that is the flexibility the Lord is having to use the Vedic statement for the welfare of the people. He is ready to modify. So there is no rigidity in that. We have to understand this. But most of the time we are so attached. We have to be, because that is where we have to excel. We have to get purified over a period of time. But to accommodate all people, even the Lord is ready to give up that barriers that he himself has created, because the time requires it to be done. Lord Krishna, on the other hand, first we saw Lord Ram. Okay. On the other hand, Lord Krishna, the people say he acted like very different from Lord Ram. Personality is same, but the behavior is completely different. Yes, he had to act like that because adharma was like at its peak. Why did Mother Earth go and plead to Lord Brahma? Because that tolerance had been finished. She said, I can't handle it anymore. The 10th canto starting chapter say that she was so overburdened by the sins of all the impious rulers that she said, my capacity is over. So this point has to be very clearly understood. Every devotee has his tolerating capacity, and when it reaches that peak, he has to seek help somewhere. It's not that she kept on tolerating. No, she took that help when that limit was breached. And that is where Lord Krishna had to come to deal with such kind of people. Okay, so why Krishna's had to behave diplomatically? Because he was forced to act diplomatically. Was Krishna the first one to break the rules of the war? No. Who was the first one to break the rule? On the 10th day, when Bhishma left, Bhishma fell on the bed of arrows. It was Dronacharya. It was Dronacharya, because everybody knew till the time Bhishma is there, you cannot break the rules of the war. He's too rigid about that. Then who was targeted? The second commander-in-chief became Dronacharya. And Dronacharya, very well known to Dhritarashtra, he says he's a weak person. because his attachment to his son was already known. His son was not qualified, but still he taught him Brahmastra. That was the point. Everybody understood that he's moldable. Okay, so he was tried. What the Duryodhan did was, on the 11th day he goes to his teacher and Dronacharya, and he tells him, "You're not fighting with your full strength," and he says such bad words about him. Such bad words about him. He says, I cannot, he's not able to tolerate. And that in itself is the point where Dronacharya gives up the desire to live. And that is where Krishna picks up that point. And that is where Krishna arranges the whole scene from Bhim. And he tells Bhim, go and kill the elephant called Ashwatthama. And Bhim kills. That entire episode is organized after this point when Duryodhan chastises his own teacher, left, right, center, and he feels it is useless living in this place. Already half his mind is gone. He is not interested in staying anymore. And that is the opportunity where Krishna uses. And the very next day, Abhimanyu is targeted, Abhimanyu is killed. And then Krishna makes up his mind, he has to be killed. And the 12th day is finished. Who broke the rules first? Not Krishna's side, not Pandava's side. Duryodhana's side. That is how you have to deal with those people. Shakuni, after Krishna left the Sabha of the Kauravas, Shakuni was laughing. And what Shakuni is saying to Lord Krishna, hey, how can you win the war? You said war is inevitable. Let's meet on the battlefield. How will you win? Your Yudhishthir is a rigid follower of Dharma. What will you do then? How will you win the war? Forget about winning. This is what Shakuni is saying. Krishna says, for the cheat, I am the best cheater. Let's meet on war. That is the message he has given to Shakuni. He had to act like that because he was forced to act like that. So Krishna, cheating is for the betterment of everybody. Okay, so we cannot compare two people based on he is the same person. How can he act one place like this and another? No, he had to act because the audience they were handling were absolutely different. So shloka number 2 is exclusively showing that the ananyata and the mood of the Lord and how the devotees are getting adopted to the Lord through the process of sadhana bhakti. And these are already sadhana siddha bhaktas or the shuddha bhaktas. Okay, now shloka number 3, all good qualities have found their perfection and source in Lord Ram. This is what Hanumanji is glorifying Lord Ram as, that all the qualities in the best of their capacity can be seen in Sri Ram and they find their origin in Lord Sri Ram. And this is exactly where the Ramayana begins. This is the question that Valmiki Rishi is asking, and he's been answered by Narad Muni the same thing, that it is only in Lord Ram that all the qualities that you're seeking are found its source and its perfection. The same thing Hanumanji is saying. 4th shloka, the question is then, will people who have heard or read about the charitra of Lord Ram, won't they doubt Lord Ram as an ordinary person because he's not holding a chakra, a conch, there is no Garuda carrying him, there is no extraordinary display of power. So then Hanumanji says here that for a jiva it is very natural to doubt the power of the Lord. It is very natural. Okay. Even Sugriva doubted the Lord. Now look at this pastime, such beautiful pastime. Even Sugriva, who could see Lord Ram, who could understand the power of Lord Ram, but still he had no confidence. Why? Because he was so badly defeated by Vali, that Vali drove him off to Rishamukh mountain. He made a mistake. He accepted he made a mistake. But what did Vali do? Vali kept him reminding, you made a mistake. How did he do that? He used to go to the Rishamukh mountain, he used to fly on top of the Rishamukh mountain, and wherever Sugriva was sitting, he used to hit him from top on air. So what is that hitting like? You made a mistake. So that Vali is in everybody, every one of us. We have to get rid of this Vali-like proclivities and propensities. But that same Sugriva, who was constantly tortured by Vali, who lost all his hope that will I ever be able to live a normal life or ordinary life? I've made a mistake. And my brother is constantly reminding me of those mistakes. Can I ever come up? Same thing happens with the Jiva. When he has committed a mistake, he feels that I'll not be accepted back in the devotee community. I'll not be accepted again. He feels that I will be punished. I will be judged. So he tries to run away. And that is what Sugriva is doing. He's trying to run away. He says, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. Because constantly is reminded. So Sugriva was weak and hopeless. And in that time, doubt is so natural in a sadhaka's mind. Doubt is so natural in a sadhaka's mind. Okay. So he even doubted Shri Ram. Even doubted, and that is where Lord Ram had to give him that proof by breaking the 7 sal trees. He penetrated the arrow, 1 arrow in the 7 sal tree, and that is where he could understand. Wow, this is the power of Lord Ram. Then he could. So Jiva also at times feel, I want to experience the power of Lord Ram because I need to have that faith. But the point is, do we have that eagerness to really? Are we constantly praying? There was one devotee who was sharing his heart. He was confused as to in which sampradaya I should take Diksha. So he initially started in ISKCON, but later on, he also went to Vrindavan, and there he found one very senior Vaishnava who is also from, not from our Gaudiya Sampradaya, but related to Gaudiya Sampradaya. And so he felt very, he felt attracted to that spiritual teacher. So he was in deep confusion. So he wasn't able to figure out what to do. So he also spoke to me. I said, okay, what you do is you pray to Radharani or Lord Krishna. So, what he did was, some time went by and he was really not able to make up his mind. And one day he saw that in his house, in his room, there was an old picture of Hanumanji. For 7 days continuous, he was praying to Hanuman. He's a very new student, okay? And for 7 days, he's continuously, day by day, every time, whenever he's remembering, he's continuously praying to Hanumanji. Show me the way, show me the way, show me the way. And at the end of the 7th day, night, he heard a voice from within. Go to the place where you started from. So he had started from ISKCON. So he got his answer. He could understand, okay, Hanumanji is guiding me. He says, go back to the place from where you started. So he started, and now he is going to be initiated by His Holiness Navayogadra Swami. It is required because I am confused. I have doubts about my own capacity, whether I'll be able to reach the Lord. And that is why that experience is a great importance. We'll come to that point also later because it is connecting to the shlokas which will be coming. Okay, so I need that experience without which my doubt will not vanish, and I won't be able to wholeheartedly surrender myself to the Lord. So in spiritual life, these things where I feel unsafe, where I feel doubt about my own self, where I'm feeling whether I'll be able to continue or not. At that time, we need that shelter and we need that support. And the story we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita is Mrigari. Narad Muni told him, break the bow. He said, come on, you're telling me to break the very instrument through which I am earning my daily wages. Narad Muni said, don't worry, I'll feed you every day. Don't worry. He had to keep that faith, that price of keeping faith, that strong faith in Guru. He had to pay. He paid it. He broke his bow. And very soon he found that every day, lots and lots of people were coming and bringing so many things for him. So next time when his Guru comes, he says, please tell the people to bring me food sufficient only for one day because I am not able to distribute this food. They're bringing so much. That is how his Guru paid him off. So there are times in life where I need that experience that yes, my Guru Maharaj is with me. He is looking after me. He will take care of me. I should have that faith. I still remember there's one very senior devotee in our Radha Gopinath community. So he was a very senior officer, class 1 officer here in education department. A very sincere devotee, very sincere sadhaka, constantly chanting, but he was on a very great a top position in education department. So what happened was, somehow he came to a understanding that there are some people who are trying to play around with the government's money. And he was not able to make up his mind whether I should speak out or not. But he felt that, okay, I'm the officer in charge. I have to bring it to the notice of the people here. And what happened was he brought it to the notice. Those people got caught. And even some senior ministers' name came into that case. But somehow they got a clean chit. But what happened was the people who got caught and the ministers who got caught in that had a very difficult time handling. And what they did was they created an accident of this. He's initiated devotee. Okay, they created an accident for this devotee, and that trauma was so severe that for many days he was in coma. He came out of the coma, but somehow he lost his memory. And after some time he came back to his normal life, but his memory is still not very sharp now because his body is always shivering. So one day, after a long time, he came back and visited Radha Gopinath temple. So while climbing the stairs, what happened was he was not able to climb because his strength was not sufficient to climb. And he sat on the staircase. And nobody was around. And all of a sudden, what happens, by somehow, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj came there. And Maharaj saw him sitting alone and he was in his own world. So Maharaj sat near him on the staircase and Maharaj told him, what are you thinking? He said, Maharaj, I'm thinking what will happen to me, who will take care of me, will I ever be able to go back to Godhead? I'm in such pathetic condition, I cannot handle myself. I need people to take care of. And all of Maharaj said, yes, I will take you back. Why you are worrying about all this thing? That is my duty, isn't it? And the devotee also very promptly said, yes, Maharaj, this is your role. Why I'm bothering about it? My duty is to chant Hare Krishna. And both of them, Maharaj took him to the temple hall and they both went, had darshan, had kirtan. So the point is, I need that experience where I'm assured, yes, success is there for if you continue. Doubts will always be there in our life. Okay, so that experience of the presence of Lord Krishna personally or our Ishtadev or our Guru Maharaj has to be there because that strengthens my faith. Because I am still not very convinced whether Krishna is looking forward to get me back to the spiritual world. Okay, so that doubt is very common and has to be handled very properly. Then Lord can be seen or he displays his power according to as per his will. It is not that Lord will reveal his darshan or he has to do it now because I'm in dire need. No, it is his time and it is his will. We have to give him that space. We have to give him that space. As and when he feels comfortable, he has to be allowed and he will do that. He surely will do that, guarantee is there. But allow him his space because he is Swarat. And in a relationship, that space is very important. That space is very important. Because you cannot force yourself. Just because you need something, you cannot force that on somebody. In love, that reciprocation has to be a free flow. As and when the lover or the beloved wants, it has to be given or accepted. Okay. And the Lord displays all his qualities or his strength according to the devotee. Just like if you see for Sugriva, Lord displayed his strength by piercing the 7 sal tree. Why? Because it was needed for Sugriva to get that hope. But for Vali, what did he do? He didn't show his power. He shot him from behind the tree. Where was his power? Kshatriya doesn't shoot from behind the tree. Okay, there are 7 other reasons also. We know that. But he didn't display his power to Sugriva because it was not required. Because he was into an arrogant and sinful life. Whereas Sugriva, he had committed some mistakes, but he was ready to rectify and he was not sinful. So it is on the Lord as to whom he should display his qualities and to whom he shouldn't. Same thing. He even won't allow the world to understand what and why he does. That is the prerogative of the Lord. Leave it to him. It is up to him whether he wants to be understood properly or not. Ras Leela, most misunderstood. Ram killing Wali, most misunderstood. Ram killing that Shudra, most misunderstood. He doesn't bother. It is not his headache. He says, you want to understand whatever way you want. I will tell the truth only to one who comes and surrenders to me, and one who is really interested in understanding the truth. Only him. Fifth shloka, Hanumanji is saying, we saw that Lord Ram was crying for Sita like an ordinary person. Same thing. Again misunderstood. For an ordinary person, it is a husband who is so attached to his wife is running behind to search his wife. But from the Shastra Chakshu, it is the Vipralamba Bhav, the love and separation that the Lord is experiencing. And this is what he told Sita while coming down to conduct his Ram Leela. She said, okay, I'll come, but what will I get? He said, we both will experience this Vipralamba Bhav, because that is what we are not able to experience here in Vaikuntha. So his first priority for Ram Avatar was his promise to Lakshmi Devi that they both will allow themselves to taste the bhav which is not available in Vaikuntha. And this is the bhav, that Vipralamba bhav, that deep separation, that intense separation is what controls the Lord. Otherwise, how could the Lord leave such an intimate associate of his own, Mother Sita? And he put full effort to find her. Okay. So and if you see it externally, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for the Supreme Lord, who himself is Atmaram, who can create n number of Sitas from his own energies, is running after one Sita in himself. No, it is not about one Sita. It is about the Vipralamba Bhav. He's not crying in pain, but he's crying in the enjoyment of that pain of separation. Only pain of separation of such devotees make him cry. The Lord otherwise doesn't cry. He doesn't need to cry. That separation, my such dear devotee is not with me now. That separation is causing him pain. And that is why he's crying. He's not crying because he has lost his wife. No, he's Atmaram. We know that. Okay. And that is how the Lord reciprocates with his devotee. Just like we have Vasudev Ghosh. So Lord Chaitanya saw that he has collected some things and kept. Lord Chaitanya saying, oh, what is this? You have this collecting mindset. You better become Grast. He got married because Lord Chaitanya got married. And he had a wife, he had a child. Over a period of time, his wife died. After that, his son died. One day, he's sitting morose. What is this? You told me to get married. You took away my wife. You took away my child. I'm alone here. What is this? I'm crying. And that day he forgot to even feed the Lord because he was in such, because he couldn't understand what is happening with him. That is where Lord Gopinath, whom Lord Chaitanya himself manifested through that Sheela. He told, Lord Gopinath told, in separation of one child, you will lose another child. That is me. You better feed me, otherwise I will die of hunger. So Lord is asking, why you are crying? Then he is saying, oh, who will do my Shraddha ceremony? I had one son, that also you took. Who will do my Shraddha ceremony? Lord says, don't worry, I will do your Shraddha ceremony. And today we see, even today, when the disappearance day of Vasudev Ghosh, they wear Lord Gopinath a white dress, white dhoti and white shawl, which we do in Indian culture when somebody leaves his body for the ultimate final ceremony that we do. It's all in white. The Lord is made to wear. And that day when he left, Lord was crying. Lord Gopinath was crying. Why? Separation from pure devotee. Because he treated him like his own son. And the Lord did his part as a son. Lord reciprocated with his feelings. Okay. 6th shloka, Hanumanji is saying, he banished Sita and Lakshman to most of his intimate devotees. How? Two most intimate devotees of his are been banished, are been left. Sita, he told, go to Valmiki's ashram. Lakshmanji, when he was meeting with Brahmaji, who came as the Kal Swarup, And at that time, our Durvasa Rishi comes and Lakshmanji is standing at the gate. Lakshmanji had to enter because he said, I'll curse the entire Ayodhya. Lakshmanji hurries in. And that is where Lord Ram gets angry. On whom? His own brother, Lakshman. He drives him out. He says, you leave Ayodhya because that is the vow we had taken before we started this. Why so? It is not that arrogance or that hard-heartedness. I want to follow the rules. No. It was not like somewhere we find that in Bhishma Dev also. So rigidly attached to his vows. I will help the one who is sitting on the throne of Hastinapur. He thought Pandavas would sit. But he found later on that no, Pandavas are not sitting. Somebody else is sitting. He had to be loyal because he had given the word. Yudhishthir Maharaj. So much rigidity at times, which made him, I will always follow my authorities. He had to play the gambling match. So much of trouble. So here he is teaching to the people, again the audience, we have to keep the audience in mind. He is teaching them how difficult it is to be a king. When he's crying for Sita, he's showing how difficult it is to be in the married life. It is not that easy because there is this strong emotional bonding. Emotional bonding is so deep and strong, it is so difficult. It will come in the upcoming shloka. So difficult to give up. Okay, and that is why he's trying to teach the people the duties of a king, which is due to his prema also for the citizens who are his devotees again. Okay, he has to teach them, okay, this is how a king has to be, this is how a king rules, this is how the citizens should be. For that, he had to do all this thing. So what can the Lord do to teach dharma to a jiva? He can even give up Sita and Lakshman to teach them dharma. So what to speak of a person who follows dharma with all his strength? What will the Lord not give him? Dharma is not in the heart of the Lord. Dharma is the heart of the Lord. In third canto, if you read this in the Virat Rupa, Lord is saying the dharma is my heart. Dharma is not in my dharma is heart. That is what Lord is saying. And then the seventh shloka, Shri Ram's magnanimity is shown. It is not based on any qualification. How to understand this? Because Lord accepted Sugriva as his brother and Guha as his friend. Who are these people? Pancham Jati. And who are Sugriva and others? Monkeys, animals. And his own brother who is serving him day in, day out, he accepted him as his servant. Why? He wants to show the world, I am not behind any external qualification. And what I am interested in you is, are you ready to serve me in my mission? Are you ready to love me with your whole heart? That is what I am looking for. If yes, then you are mine already. So he's not judging anybody by his external qualification, neither internal. Do you want to love me? Yes or no? That is the answer he expects. Nothing in between. Yes or no. And he has shown this. Those who are ready to serve him, they won. Without any external qualification. 8th shloka is saying, little sincere service is required to please the Lord. Lord, little service. We have the famous example of the squirrel. What did she do? She still carries the mark of Lord Ram's hand on her body. Till date, we see that. Little service is required. Now changes the section. Now 9 to 15 is prayers of Nar Narayan Rishi. Prayers to Nar Narayan Rishi by Narad Muni. Okay. Then Nar Narayan Rishi, 9 shloka is saying, Nar Narayan Rishi came to this world to teach religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, freedom from false ego. That's what they came to teach. But why did they come to teach? The story goes, once when Narad Muni went to Kailash, he saw Lord Shiva is in deep meditation, continuously meditating on someone. And for what? For the benefit of the world. Continuously in trance meditation. So Narad Muni sees this and he goes to Vaikuntha and he says, my dear Lord, you are sleeping here in Vaikuntha. You are in Yoga Nidra. Look there, Lord Shiva is performing such tapasya. He is in continuous meditation. Why don't you do this? On request of Narad Muni, he says, oh yes, I should also do. That is where he decides and takes this form as Nar Narayan Rishi. And that is how he meditates. And for the benefit of the entire world, we still know in the first canto, second canto, it comes. He's there in Badrikashram, still performing tapasya for the benefit of the entire world. Just on the words of Lord, on the words of Narad Muni, he is ready to take an incarnation which is just based on meditation, tapasya, to teach the world what is meditation, what is tapasya. And then 10th shloka is saying, this Narad Muni is now glorifying the Narayan Rishi. He is saying that he wrote the Narada Pancharatra, which teaches us the real method, the real goal of life is devotion to Lord Krishna. And how to achieve that? Devotional service. That is what Narada Pancharatra is all about. So Narada, so now where does this Narada Pancharatra come from? Once Narad Muni had an intense desire to see Yugal Kishore, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, in the 16 and 14-year-old form. So he goes and performs tapasya in the jungle. Now you know he is an Akhanda Brahmachari. He is an Akhanda Brahmachari. There in the dense forest, he sees one girl, very young girl, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years old. She comes and she is seeing him. And all of a sudden, he also sees her. Now, he says, I'm Brahmachari, how can I speak to her? And she asks, who are you? Now somebody is asking, you have to answer. He says, I'm Narad Muni. So what you are doing here? He shouldn't be talking so much to a girl. So he's confused what to do. He says, no, she's asking, I have to answer. He says, I am doing tapasya. What? For what? So he says, I want to see Yugal Sarkar, Radha Krishna. He says, okay, only this much. Please come with me. So she holds his hand. So he says, Papri, what is this? But she says, come, follow me. And she's walking closely. And then she says, okay, this is the kund, you enter this kund. What? Kund? Yeah, you enter this kund. This young girl, 8, 9 years old, she's saying, she enters. And as soon as he comes out, he sees himself transformed into what? A gopi. And what was that? That was Kusum Sarovar. Who was that? Vrinda Devi. And that is how he is allowed in the Rasa Kshetra. And when he sees the Rasa Leela, he comes back and the gopi says, go and enter the lake again. And then he comes back as Narad Muni. He says, no, allow me more. He says, no. Now you tell the world how to enter the Rasa Leela. What is the process of entering the deep inner Leelas of the Supreme Lord? And that is where he writes the Narada Bhakti Sutra, showing the best way to reach the divine couple is nothing but what? Devotional service. That is how he wrote the Narada Bhakti Sutra. And who was that? Vrinda Devi, who taught him what has to be written and how it has to be written. Okay, so he is the writer of Narada Bhakti Sutra. Now, the third section is where okay. Now here, one more thing. Yeah, it will come here. Now, in the further shlokas, we see this is the 10th shloka, and the 11th shloka is offering his respects to Naranarayan Rishi. And in that Naranarayan Rishi, he is saying that the treasury is of whom does the Lord belong to? The Lord belongs to the Akinchana Vittaya, the same shloka what Kunti Maharani said, Namo Akinchana Vittaya. Same thing he's saying. Lord belongs to those who are Akinchana. Most of the time, when people ask this question, the entire universe rests in the stomach of Mahavishnu. But when the Lord comes here and performs his Leela, where does the Lord take the rest? Lord takes rest at the house of an Akinchana devotee. Example, Vidura. When Lord Krishna, when he entered Hastinapur and the meeting totally failed. So where did he, when Duryodhana called him for dinner, he didn't go. So where did he go? He went to Vidurji's house. He saw, but Vidurji is not there. Vidurani is there. So what? She's feeding him. She's feeding him. She's so happy seeing him. She starts feeding him banana peels, throwing banana and feeding, and he's happily eating. And Vidurji comes and he's shocked. What is she doing? So she tells him, go and cook some food for the Lord. So she goes, Vidurani goes, she cooks, and she cooks some vegetables for him. And Lord is eating those vegetables. Can you imagine Lord Krishna eating what Vidurani has cooked? And while eating, he's crying. He's crying. Why? He says, I'm remembering the food which Shabri offered me in my avatar as Sri Ram. I'm remembering the same emotions. When Lord Ram was feeling such intense separation from Mother Sita, who was the only one person who gave him relief? It was none other than Shabri. It was only in Shabri's ashram. From the time he entered Shabri's ashram to the time he left Shabri's ashram, for that time he forgot his separation from Mother, because that was the love and affection that Mother Shabri was giving him. That is what he is remembering when he's eating it from the hands of Vidurani. And then he has his belly full, and then he says, I want to sleep. Where will you sleep? So Lord tells Vidurji, I want to sleep in your lap, because he is his uncle. So he says, okay. So Vidurji makes his lap open, and Lord keeps his head. And at the feet, there is Vidurani. She takes Lord's feet and she's massaging Lord's feet. And Vidurji is massaging Lord's head. Okay. And Lord takes a very deep nap. The entire world is resting in him. But where does he go to take rest? At the house of a Nishkinchan Bhakta. Now somebody might, what does a devotee get when he serves the Lord? So when the Lord woke up, so Vidurji told Vidurani, give him some mouth to get water to get fresh, so and cut fruits, and she offers, eats, and that is where Lord Krishna makes his final declaration to Vidurji: war will be fought, and we will win the war. And he leaves. So now Vidurji, after the Lord left, he is feeling intense separation. Oh, wow. But when he sees his thigh, now the Lord's earring, which is a Makar Kundala, shark shape, had stuck on his thigh. That mark remained permanent. When the Lord slept, that mark was permanent. And whenever Vidurji saw that, he could experience the Lord with him. So when a devotee serves the Lord wholeheartedly and the Lord is pleased, he leaves this impression. He leaves that impression in form of that emotions, which we can relish over a period of time. So Vidurji is constantly watching his thighs, because that mark of the Lord's earring is there. And that is how he could relate to the Lord. He could experience the Lord is with him. Akinchana, 11 shloka it is speaking. 12 shloka, Lord is unattached. And he is just a pure witness. And his senses are not polluted by seeing any sense object. He is unattached to his own creation. And on the exact contrary, we see Brahmaji getting attached to his own creation in the form of where his daughter Vak is running. Yeah, what is that running? It is not just an external indication. It is also an internal indication. He is attached to his own creation. Sometimes we are also attached to our own, my dressing, my class, my kirtan, my seva. What is this? This is nothing but that same mindset which Brahmaji carried. He is attached to his own creation. Is this lecture mine? No. I'm just speaking and repeating the same point that I'm studying. Is this mine? No. Is the kirtan that you are getting? If you had no good voice, how would you sing? If your dressing sense was not given by the Lord, how could you dress that it is nice? We should not be attached, just like the Lord is saying. Just be witness of what the Lord is getting done through us. 12 shloka. 13 shloka, they're saying perfection of the yoga. Fix your mind on his lotus feet, and that is how you get free from the bodily designations. We just 2 days before we were in Chopati temple, and we had a japa retreat. And in that, Maharaj was making a wonderful point. He said that when you chant, what is the easiest way of going back to order? When you chant your 16th round, just free yourself of all the designation for 16 rounds. That is it. That is it. For 16 rounds, don't be a mother, don't be a father, don't be a sister, don't be a sibling, don't be a spouse, don't be anything of anyone. Just you and Krishna, free from all designations. And when you chant free of all those designations, then you see the magic of chanting. And that day, Maharaj showed us that through practical experiences and through practical examples that he gave us on that day. That day morning, Maharaj told us, wake up at 2 o'clock. Whole life, never 2 o'clock we have got up. 2:30 we were there. There was one room, only those fixed devotees, registered 30 devotees, all brahmacharis, Tulsi Maharaj, and only 3-4 Grahastha couples, only 2 Grahastha couples and 1 senior devotee. 2:30 morning, everybody is there. Nobody, pin drop silence outside. Only Tulsi Maharani and devotees. What japa we had. What japa we had. And that day Maharaj said we have to chant 64 rounds. Everybody chanting 64 rounds. And in slots. Okay, 64 rounds in slot. 64 rounds flew like this. And then Maharaj at the end of the session, he said, okay, let's reflect back on what happened in the morning when you were chanting. He asked the Grahastha devotees, did you remember your child or your wife or your son, your daughter, your parents, your bank balance? None of them said yes. Everybody said, we forgot everything. Maharaj said, just chant in this mood. Your life is already successful. That is what they are saying in the 12th. Be unattached, be a witness. And 13th shloka, they are saying, perfection of yoga is to fix your mind on the lotus feet of Lord. And 14th, if you are doing everything of this, and if you are not coming to the stage, 14th shloka, that is simply a waste of time. What? Even if after doing so much, if we are still fearful of death, that means there is something surely wrong. Now, what is that wrong? We haven't experienced Krishna in our lives. That is for sure. The day you would have realized that Krishna is with me, and if that has made a mark on your mind, automatically that fear of death has reduced to a great extent. It has to be reduced because you have witnessed Krishna's power. You have experienced Krishna. That is what is expected for a sadhaka. He has to experience Krishna somehow or the other. That is an emergency. And this will carry us across, even in difficult time. Because just like there is an habit, if you see something, if you are praying to the Lord and the flower fell, what happens? Next time you also let the flower fall. Why? Because that experience has nourished you. Similarly, we have to go back to the experience. Yes, Lord did help me that time. He will help me this time also. Those who don't have this experience will surely fear. We are not saying we are not fearful. We also are fearful, but we have that guarantee because we have certain experiences during our worshipping of the Supreme Lord, which has made us confident that yes, Lord is there. He is not a stone. He is personally there on the altar, watching every single thing, watching every one of us, and there with us every moment to moment, watching us. That experience helps me go through the crisis. And most of the time, the presence of the Lord is felt in the crisis. And that is what we are most afraid of. Because we are afraid of pain. I don't want the pain. But what is Vipralamba Bhav? It is pain. If you are not able to handle the pain of this world, how will we be able to understand the pain of the spiritual level? Once, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was having intense headache and he has closed his room. All dark, inside sitting Maharaj alone sitting. And then one senior Grahastha devotee, everybody told Maharaj is sitting alone, do something. No brahmachari there to go. So the senior devotee Grahastha was told to go and check if Maharaj is healthy or not, is having some problem. And that devotee entered and he asked Maharaj, Maharaj, is everything okay? Do you need something? Maharaj said, I was trying to experience Krishna during that pain. I was trying to remember Krishna during that pain. No, you may say he's a pure devotee. Okay. But someday we also have to come to that stage. We cannot just deny by saying that he's a pure devotee and I am not. If we're doing that, it is simply a waste of time. 14th shloka. And 15th shloka, we are influenced and infected by Maya and attached to this body. And how do we get out of this attachment? 16, that shloka, he says that from 16 to 20, they're saying 28 shloka, association of devotees. Through the association of devotees, what will happen? We will render service to the Lord. And once we start rendering service to the Lord, the deep knot of ignorance will start melting. And as soon as it evaporates, everything will be crystal clear to us. Everything will be crystal clear to us. So association of devotees is the most important point in 28th shloka, because Lord is merciful, more merciful than the Lord is his holy name, and more merciful or even unlimitedly merciful than the holy name are the devotees of the Lord who come to give us holy name. That is the only solution and only hope we have. And the last section of today, where we'll be dealing with the 26th shloka. So from 21 to 28 is the demigods glorifying the Bharatvarsha. And in this last shloka of this 21 to 28 shloka, the benediction is given even to the indirect worshipper. So who is this indirect worshipper? The indirect worshipper is the worshipper of the demigods, who are the different limbs of the Lord in the Virat Rupa. Okay. So now most of the time what happens is, just like we have this shloka in the 3rd chapter, Ishtan Bhogani Vo Deva. This is 3 point. This is 3 point. I exactly don't remember. They're speaking about yajna. Okay, so 3rd chapter Karma Yoga. This is 10th shloka. सह यज्ञ प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापति अनेन प्रसविष्यत्वम एषवो इष्टकामदुक. Now Krishna has what he has said. I am giving you a package. Okay. Ishtakam. If you have any other desire, which is ishta, not anishta. Ishta means favorable for your spiritual progress or your healthy material life. Ishta duk. What you do? Saha yajna praja srishtva. During the creation, srishtva, creation, what have I done? Saha yajna. I have, along with the creation, I have sent yajna, and along with that yajna came the praja, purovacha prajapati. Who is the first prajapati? Brahmaji. So Brahmaji, on as told by Krishna, has given all these things for living happily in the material world. That facility is already made. So when people say this material world made for suffering, it doesn't match with this shloka, please. He is already saying, An-eshuvo ishtakam. If you have any desire to be fulfilled, do this yajna. And that certain authority will fulfill your desire. So where is the question of not getting the desires fulfilled? You follow the right process. When you are doing karma, you will get a karma phala. And when you are doing jnana, then what is the phala? It is mukti. And what is the phala of bhakti? It is prema. So if you are chanting Harina to control your mind, then it is wrong according to this principle. Harinam can control your mind. There is no doubt in that. It is like killing a mosquito by throwing a nuclear weapon. It is a nuclear weapon. It is not meant to kill a mosquito. Harinam is exclusively given for experiencing the love of Krishna. It is not for headache. It is not for cutting your karma. It does as a side effect, but that's not the prominent factor. So here, when it is said that the demigods are the representatives of Krishna, they help you come closer to Krishna indirectly by fulfilling your desires. Then gradually what happens? Step by step you evolve and then you reach Krishna. So when the shloka is mentioned here, Prabhupada is very clear, very pertinent. What Prabhupada is saying, that yes, it is true that the demigods are different parts of the Lord, but they are supporting the Lord. Now, many times devotees ask this question, oh, then are you supporting demigod worship? It is already supporting devotional service. Where do you get your air from? Does Krishna personally give you air? Sunlight, water, ether, fire. He is providing through the agencies of the demigod. When you use their facilities, then you can move towards Krishna. So let us not see demigods different from Krishna. In what sense they are connected to Krishna to fulfill our needs, and when those needs are fulfilled, we use that energy to go closer to Krishna. Then somebody asks, what about Ananya Bhakti? Ananya Bhakti, please understand, what are we here in ISKCON for? To love Krishna. That is our goal, right? Let's take an example. There is a Grihastha devotee. He loves his wife very much, deeply in love, and he is very loyal. In his office, for his official work, there is a lady who is appointed, who is a clerk in that office. So he has to speak to that lady. Now, if somebody sees that he is speaking to that lady, he is not speaking about his emotions or his love for her. No. He is speaking to her regarding the work. Okay. And that is how, through that work, when he earns something, he is able to support his family. He is able to give better facilities for his wife. And that is how their love again flourishes. So his talking with that clerk in his office is like connecting to the demigods for a particular need. Otherwise, why would Srimad Bhagavatam in the second canto give the list of devotees and their respective departments? If you want this, go to this. If you want this, go to this. If you want, go to this. Why? Bhagavat, Amal Puran is giving. Who? Shukdev Goswami is giving. Vyas is giving. Because Harinam only for relishing Krishna consciousness. It is like that intimate relationship between husband and wife. It is meant for that. Ananya Bhakti is meant for that. Ananya Bhakti is not meant to cut my karma. That you go to any demigod, they will do it. If you have mind control problem, go to Someshwar, Somnath, God, Shankar. The moon is on his head. But where does he get his strength from? Because he is worshipping Aniruddha, who is the main controlling deity. Sankarshan, controller of mind and ego. He gets the strength. That is why his name is Shankar. But what will that mind control help me? It will help me become steadier. I can chant better and I can realize Krishna early. So this concept of demigod worship has to be very properly understood, because they are not created by me. They are created by Krishna himself for helping us go closer to Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Sorry for going beyond time. Kindly excuse me if I have spoken something wrong or beyond my realization. Whatever I've heard, I've just spoken it to my little understanding. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj's. Prabhu, you have time?
I have 5 minutes. After that, I have to leave for another
Okay, I'll try to
service.
make it quick, Prabhu. First of all, very grateful for the definition or the reflection that you gave for devotional service by the story of Vidura. We'll try to remember that. Prabhu, I missed out on point where you were saying that it was not Krishna who tricked first after 10 days, right? When Bhishma Dev lied down. It was, I missed out. Who started it exactly, Prabhu? I'm sorry.
After, on the 10th day, we know that Bhishma was on the bed of arrows. Okay, so till 10 days, nobody broke any rule. So when Bhishma has now is no more into action. Okay, now he has to have commander number 2, which is Dronacharya. Dronacharya on the 11th day, he fights to his best, but Duryodhana is so eager for the victory that he says you're not fighting with your full strength. That is how he chastises him very badly. On the first day also we saw that he has spoken very harsh to him by quoting the name of Drishtadumna, your disciple, you did this, you taught him, now look what he has done to us. He's using your techniques and all that. So he is already hurt. The 11th day, more hurt. So that is the day where he loses his desire to live. And that is what Krishna catches. And that is how Krishna plans that, okay, he is already in that mood to live his body. And anyway, his presence is not allowing the dharma to be established. So let's take a turn. And on the 12th day, they say that let's defeat, then they try to kill as many Pandavas as possible. And Dronacharya does that. And seeing his anger, Krishna says, if we don't stop him, he will destroy the entire army. But then Duryodhana is still not happy. Then he says that let's, this Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu, he enters. And that is where Dronacharya is requested by Duryodhana how to kill him. He says, I will not kill, but I will tell you how to kill. So that is how he gave them idea to kill. That became the second point. And third day, when he fights very fiercely, and Krishna decides it's time for him to wind up. And when he's fighting such fiercely, and still Duryodhana is not satisfied, in that rage of anger, he leaves a Brahmastra. And that Brahmastra is so terrible, it would wipe out the entire creation. And that is where the Saptarishis, they come and tell Dronacharya, stop it. This is the deadliest thing you can do to creation. Withdraw your Brahmastra. He withdraws the Brahmastra and they say it's time for you to come back. No, you can't wait here because your mind is not clear and anyway you don't have any desire to live. That is where Krishna organizes. Ashwatthama has been killed, Bhima tells, and he gets it verified by Yudhishthir. And when Yudhishthir, Krishna knows that he won't be able to speak the complete truth. So first statement, as soon as Yudhishthir speaks, Krishna makes a hand and there is a lot of trumpets and then he slowly says, I don't know whether you are son or that elephant is killed. So that is how he orchestrates the entire event.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. I had a follow-up question. I can ask the question. You can choose not to answer if you have no time, Prabhu. The
Yes,
entire
Mataji,
class,
you can.
yeah, you entire class, you were telling about coming from what I understanding I have of Srila Prabhupada's lecture, we are not supposed, I mean, at least in ISKCON, that we just worship Krishna. And nobody, of course, I mean, what understanding I have, we are grateful for every breath, every light and everything. But when it comes to inaction, when it comes to action, being grateful is something, but in action, I feel Srila Prabhupada is telling us in action, it is only for Krishna. Is that understanding okay, Prabhu? Did I put my question clear or shall I?
Can you repeat the last part?
Yes,
I didn't get that.
Yes, Prabhu. I mean, see, it is not about being disrespectful to any demigod, but when it comes to action, like whether it is our chanting or it is our cooking or anything, it is always, even I'm a new sadhaka, even then it is for Krishna. So is that is okay, Prabhu? We need not go and worship.
No, I was speaking in situations. See, we all are sadhakas. We know that. So most of the time devotees ask this question, there are so many problems in my life and I'm not able to face it. The very fact that you're facing problems and you're not able to manage them, okay, your mindset is indicative of your progress. So what happens is Krishna has already made certain arrangements for you to get out of that situation, okay, and that is through the via agency of demigods. I'm not saying we should cook for them or we should daily worship them. My point was, when it is required to take their help, let's not say that okay, it is into demigod. No, it is not into demigod worship. We are taking their help so that I can become steadier quickly and I can move faster towards Krishna, because those problems, I am mentally not steady and they're not allowing me to focus on Krishna. Now you choose. What is better, to stay unsteady or to take help of somebody who can make you stable and then you run faster towards Krishna? That was my point.
Okay. Something like gopis doing the Kattayani Vrat or something?
Yes. Why? For what? Because they wanted Krishna that desperately. And that was the medium which Vedas had taught. They didn't discover something on their own. Otherwise, I would rather only worship sun god.
Yes, Prabhu. Got it, Prabhu. Very, very grateful and always look forward for your association, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So, should we stop the class?
Sure, Prabhuji. There are no more questions. If you wish, we can stop here. And thank you, Prabhuji, for this very, very beautiful class. It was so enlightening. Importance of chanting and also deity worship and always be in Ananya Bhakti. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Let us pay obeisance to Prabhuji and
Thank you, Mataji, for giving me my gift.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
In the form of
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.